Welcome all to the Investigator News Network. Are we on the network, right, Yelly?
Yes, we are.
On this day of June 19th, year of the Lord 2023, I guess we just went past Juneteenth, and we had Father's Day, and some debt ceiling thing happened. Anyway, moving along. Alaska Reads is a paper or publication in Alaska. I don't know if any of you have seen the show called Flying Wild Alaska, and they had airlines in Alaska. One was a Uniclete, and it was headed up by a man by the name of Jim Tweedo. And he happens to be 68 now. That was 12 years ago that show was filmed. Well, on the 16th, we have some bad news come in about Jim. His Cessna 180H Skywagon, tail number N91-36-1, crashed on takeoff. And he and Shane Reynolds from Orfino, Idaho, perished in the accident. Apparently on takeoff from their remote site, not from the airport, Shacklet was the area, Shacklet River was the area they were taking off and could not get out of ground effect. And so at takeoff speeds, they crashed into the ground, and both lives were lost. So that's bad news. So if a judge or a public or a prosecutor doesn't give you a public defender and you ask for one, they have to let you out of jail or they're in contempt of court. Just so everybody wants to know. And the reason why they would be in contempt of court is because they're violating your civil rights. Okay. On to good news, bad news. Bad news. This is bad news. Good, bad. Bad news. Some of the 6 murdered women in Portland, Oregon, that they haven't been able to figure out who's killing them, all had brown hair, brown eyes, and visited some of the same places. But they're not saying it's a serial killer, just so we know. In Portland, Oregon, there are 6 murdered / gals with brown hair and brown eyes that visited the same place, some of the same places, but there's no serial killer.
That's what they said here in Arkansas.
There is no serial killer, Ellie.
Yeah.
There can't be a serial killer because it's Portland, the same place that has a problem with, public defenders.
Yeah. And, not only that, but they have problems with overnight, not only the serial killers of women, but serial killers. It goes into Washington and even Utah, Idaho. Because this.
Yeah, they go down. They like I-84.
Yeah. And get this, they got that college student guy they got. Well, there's another one they caught right before him. And they're saying there's another one that could be doing these other killings. So this will be the third or fourth.
Ellie, UW, Washington State University, Vancouver University, and the University in Portland, Oregon, University of Oregon, all have cross. So if you can't get a class in one of the universities, you can go to the other university to get have your credits filled in. So the student population travels between Vancouver, Canada, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Pullman, and what's the name? Moscow, Idaho area, but Pullman, Washington. So yeah, the students are fluid between these places. I don't know if you know that. Don't know if it matters. I'm just saying that.
Well, I've been learning, you know, since that gentleman, that college guy, murdered that house full, and I was looking into it, and then I found out, well, wait a minute, now there's another one that had already been convicted, and then they said there's still more killings going on. And then you told me about the brown-haired, brown-eyed, and these are different. This is almost like home invasion type thing. So now we got 2 more serial killers out there.
Yeah, we have the middle of the night hacker that's running around, and these gals, they're out in the public and they're getting slashed. But it might be the same slasher. He might just gone from, because of the news from the
maybe he wanted blonde-haired, blue-eyed people.
Who knows?
Karen, so, I know what Karen's planning on doing. She's going to throw that popcorn at me. I just know it. She's like, okay, Ellie, well, no, don't do that. Don't say that.
So it turns out Pennsylvania and Ohio are being a little bit mum about our friend over here in Moscow, Idaho, that's in detention. Did you know about that?
No.
Yeah. Huh. Got some of those rumblings the other day. Okay, let's move. Let's go far away so we can just get beyond our own misery up here in the Northwest.
Meanwhile, I told you this earlier when you were telling me about Blinkin. I said, meanwhile, in Africa, we got jihads that are eating people, our
cannibal jihadists.
Yeah, and it's even bloodier, more aggressive than ever, they say. And it's all the way to Congo, near the border of Congo. And the rebels are...
It's safety.
Yeah.
It's safety.
They say they're members of the Allied Democrat Forces, ADF.
Yeah.
And they're
through that whole Pan-African flag with the red and the green and the black flag that they always fly at Antifa and at Antifa.
Yeah, they said their name is usually an Islamic group with ties to Islamic State, ISIS, and aspirations in establishing a caliphate in Central East Africa. And they said the world has been so focused on Ukraine, the climate hysteria, and alleged crimes of Trump, that the global jihad almost has their way with not only Americans but others in Africa since 2001, and they are cannibalistic. I know me and you talked about it, and I was saying,
men, women, and children.
Yeah.
Men, women, and children.
Yeah, they're and Christians. And
Christian.
The guy from South Africa that I get a lot of my reports from, I've asked him about this, and he said you wouldn't believe how vicious these rebels are, and everybody just basically locks their homes and hides when they're in the area, and they go not just in Congo or some of these areas. They say they've gotten this thirst for blood through Boko Haram, and now they are going to countries that they know will fly them to the United States. Just what we need, William. Cannibalistic ISIS.
This is what happens in wars, is bloodlust happens. I've been trying to tell everybody. It's real. It's not a joke. Anyway, yeah, so they have this thing for tasty Christians. Well, they're not the only one that's having problems with Christians, because I got some news here. Apparently, Kim Jong-un over in North Korea has gone full pedo on us and sentenced a 2-year-old to a concentration camp. His parents turned out to have a Bible in their home. Just saying, problems with Christians.
Yeah, well, and the re-education camps, they're saying, are mostly young people under the age of 30 years old, that they want to, with the Uyghurs and everybody in these re-education camps, it's really hard to say what they're put there for. Either to be a soldier, or they're eventually going to be tortured and killed, or are they being re-educated to a type of mind meld?
This isn't China. This isn't China. This is North Korea with Kim Jong-un. So he's got 70,000 Christians that are prisoners, and a total of 120,000 total political prisoners. But no, this is Kim Jong-un and his fancy sister.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't like.
Now, I would suspect him doing exactly the same thing as China. And what about even moving and selling body parts? I mean, China's big. That was one of the big things China did at the beginning. So I wouldn't put it past North Korea to do the same.
So do you think they eat them before they sell them? Or are they selling what they don't eat?
They sell.
Well, I'm just throwing that out there.
I know. What I'm thinking is, if they kind of look at all the parts, I guess the ones they make the most money on, they sell, and the junk parts they serve with rice. I don't know.
You know what they say about chickens? Parts is parts.
Oh goodness, yeah, that's true. Because the biggest commodity is for livers, and you kind of like hold on to your liver and don't go to China or North Korea.
Yeah. Wear a corset. Gosh.
On a serious note, though, I had a friend that her daughter needed liver, and they were looking at China, and they could actually get one cheaper from China than they could here in the States.
If your loved one's dying, you will look anywhere.
That's it. And she did. But she could never find one compatible.
It's not a person's fault for caring about their loved one, but it is somebody's fault if they're selling somebody else's body parts. So, we have a flying organization called Angel Flight, and it's a GA organization, General Aviation Organization, and they work hard to make sure that people get flights to hospitals and back, and families back and forth. If they can make a flight for somebody so they don't have to get on the airlines, they can go on private. These guys are doing that all the time, and they're part of our, I don't know, I guess you could call it like our Cajun Navy. This is kind of our American Second Air Force thing. These guys step in to try to help get people, and also they'll fly organs too. Go out of their way, and it costs money to have to fly these flights.
These medical sciences hospitals do the transplants too.
Right, but the hospitals can't always get their aircraft free because they have life flights and whatnot going on. And when that happens, they can turn to the GA community and somebody in one of the local airports nearby will step up, or will actually go in when they wouldn't be flying otherwise, and get into the air and take care of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm glad to talk about. And, you know, Jim Tweedo was part of that out of Unacleat before he died as well. He did a lot of this getting people to their families' funerals, making sure they got to their medical and whatnot out of these remote communities in Alaska. And so we're going to miss Jim. All right. So there's a county in New York State, and they're very, very angry because New York City has violated the county's emergency order on migrants. And New York's been sending them, their migrants, to their local community out in the counties. They're upset. Upset, I say. Very upset. Very, very, very upset. All right. More FBI weaponization hearings today. If anybody's interested, good viewing. It's got to be lots of good stuff going on there.
Well, you know, I mentioned before the show that the IRS with the FBI is doing raids at gun stores, and they're not taking any guns. They're taking the records of, and why would they do that, William? When they run background checks, they run it through the feds. So, but for some reason,
all right. Here's what bothers me. Now, I know they're doing that, and that should bother us, and that does bother me, but here's what bothers me more. So because our intelligence agencies weren't talking to each other on 911, we came up with this new organization called Homeland Security, because now we need a homeland instead of just, you know, these United States. Anyway, so now we've got this Homeland guy, and the ATF's already been getting no records. So why aren't they sharing it with the FBI?
Yeah, why would the FBI be raiding these gun stores? And they've done 3 of them so far.
Because they've...
And why would the IRS want...
Why don't they share information?
Yeah, and
why bother these guys twice or 3 times or however many times?
And with them raiding these gun stores, they're getting names and what the people have purchased. So it's not they're looking at they're not looking at the records of the money that's being made for the gun store. They're looking at the records of the people and what they bought. So to me, they're looking for the ARs list. But why wouldn't they just get it from, like you said, from when they have to run background check? Because then they know what's being purchased.
Now I'm in trouble because I went over to the Sports Warehouse and bought some sleeping bags. And now they got my information.
Yeah.
For a Coleman sleeping bag.
That's right.
I'm going to be cold. It's going to be cold. We can't deal with that this winter.
Yeah. You know, you know, not only that, but what if they confuse one, like you said, for sleeping bags for the person next in line that just bought 5 ARs or the pistol ARs, of which they're after big time. And they get it kind of confused and messed up. They raid your house thinking you've got ARs and all you bought was sleeping bags. See, that's the concern of the gun owners, the gun stores.
You know what a goat gun is?
Yeah.
A goat gun is a 5th size replica of whatever military weapon you want. You could get a goat gun. Goat means GOAT, greatest of all time thing, right? Of toy guns, right? And you bought an M16 goat gun at Big five. Now what are you going to do?
That's it.
How are you going to turn that over?
You know, and I just got through stopping at, you know, the big sports store where, I mean, it's loaded with guns and everything, gun, bows, everything you want, knives, and they had everything there. They said I could take pictures, but not of the guns. So, and so how, I only got a couple shirts and some coffee cups. So now if they raid that store, the IRS, and they're going to get what I bought. So are they going to, what are they going to accuse me of? And we can't, as far as the DOJ and the State Department at this point, they have changed things to suit their justification for raids.
So, what if my T-shirt thing says Betsy Ross on it?
Well, I got one that I can't wear, but I bet you they're going to be after it.
I'm just going to wear the one with purple hair with David Bowie, right? Because that's safe.
Yeah, see, I got mine under Patriot shirts. So if they look under, it'll come up as Patriots, Patriots wear. So who knows what they would look at for Patriots wear? It would be, oh, there we go. She's a patriot and she's a conservative, and you know, we might need to take a look at her. You know.
And you got a Betsy Ross flag on your shirt, and your shirt's 15 times normal size.
Maybe I need one of those.
What's the 15 times normal size for? Anyway, it must be just for sleeping at night. It's not for public.
That's right.
All right. I guess we'll all survive maybe till tomorrow. So, what do you want to go on to next? We want to go on to the world's going up in flames with Blinkin? Or Arnold says there can't be a heaven?
You know, I want to touch on Juneteenth real quick because there was a lot of shootings.
All right.
And so my question to Avita King is, it is Martin Luther King's day, basically, is what the family was told. And what they look at is the emancipation, and they said it was Jubilee. It was Jubilee. It was everybody to be happy that it wasn't just one versus the other. It was everybody being together and enjoying that there was no racism that would move forward. Now, that was her explanation of what Martin Luther King Jr. said for this day. You know, everybody says, well, what's the Juneteenth? And I said, you know what? Go listen to Elvita King. If you want to know what Martin Luther King's birthday, or not birthday, Martin Luther King Day is about, then go listen to him. So
how come Martin Luther King gets one day and Christ gets 2 days and they get a whole month?
Yeah, and they get a whole month of March in March. Yeah, because this used to mess us up at school. Because out in California, we would in March, pretty much it was March Madness because we couldn't go to school, and there would be lots of riots. And of course, back then we had Jesse Jackson and a few others saying, no, peace, peace, peace. But there was no peace. And so now they had, what was it? At least 8 shootings and about 20 dead just yesterday for everybody getting angry. You know, it's time for I agree with Avita King. It's time that everybody really look at what Martin Luther King Jr. was all about, that it was about peace. It wasn't about riots. And that the only one that brought in the riots was Farrakhan, Jackson, and a few others that tried to ride the shirt code of Martin Luther King Jr. That's what she says. So I'm with her on it.
Say about the shootings.
Yeah. So anyway,
So
move on, unless you want to add to that.
Yeah, the shootings part. If you're afraid somebody's going to hurt you, I mean, like they're about to kill you, yeah, you're justified. But otherwise, keep your emotions to yourself. If you can't handle emotions, please off yourself, not your neighbors. All right, I can move on now. I'm sick of these mass shootings.
Yeah, because it's and you know, we even got the manifesto of that one girl, and then we got the autopsy report, and you know, they want to make such a big deal out of these people. And you know, back when I was watching the court TV and stuff, they never wanted to mention their names nor anything about them because we didn't want to put anything into it. But now everybody's like, what was in the autopsy report? Well, there was nothing. She didn't take anything. It was a she. She even had pink undergarments on, and definitely hadn't had even a sex change. So,
my thing is this, Ellie. Just because you feel something doesn't mean somebody else will feel something. And even if you want to make them feel something, doesn't mean they'll feel something.
And why kill kids?
So if you feel like you have to make them feel what you're feeling, check yourself out.
You know, the thing, William, is these
go for Thorazine.
These school shooters are shooting kids, and when they're actually mad at adults. We had a lot of that during court TV days when they used to just run trial after trial on that. And one of the big things was one of the first school shootings was, why are they going after kids when they're so mad at adults?
So if it's a mass shooting and you're not at war, okay, here's the thing. You're a coward if you do that. There's no way around it.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
If you want to be like that, well. So, Rick Grinnell, he says that Mr. Jack Smith, our fine prosecuting attorney of our previous president, destroyed the United States position in the negotiations between Kosovo and Serbia. Can you believe that? This guy that went after the president almost started another war. It's a surprise, I'm telling you, a surprise. Turns out Arnold has become Arnold. Arnold, how do you say that? Schwartz? Arnold Schwartz. Arnold Schwartz from Terminator 2. He's become an expert.
Yeah.
On the afterlife. You know what an expert is, Ellie, right?
Yeah.
It's a has-been drip under pressure. Has-been drip like water.
It seems like expert. You know, and I hate to just point at politicians or some of the others. It seems like once they do a stint with any type of politics and they think they can go on to be an expert on something they know absolutely.
I figured out why.
I think because they are CEOs on boards that have bought a lot of stock in it. That's what I think.
No, it's because he was born in Austria and moved to LA.
Boy, did he mess up.
Oh, I got it figured out. It says right here he was born in Austria, then moved to LA.
Right. How old? Does it say how old he was? Because they liked children back then. I mean, they.
Well, I don't know.
That's according to Shirley Temple. That
he's talking about heaven. So, Ellie, I'm an expert on heaven. Well, kind of. I'm not sure I went to the heaven when I died, but I'm an expert on being out. You know, way out. It's real. Okay, we can move on. There's a new California bill that's going to threaten to punish parents because Gavin's upset that they might misgender kids. I don't get it. Oh.
I don't either, because, when you sit, and this is something that a lot of people don't get, because if you look at, forget politics, if you look at just the normal person in the store, the person that behind you, and you say, what matters in this country? They're going to say their taxes being low, that there's food, they have a job, they have a home, and they live okay, even if it's paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, for some reason, Newsom seems, and the Democrats seem to think, with the liberal mind, that they need to change everything from high taxes, but they want to pay for changing what our kids are learning in school. And they've taken out history.
I'm upset about the pronouns.
Yeah. Well, that not only the pronouns in English, but what about Common Core for math that parents still don't understand?
So if you're a gal in the Navy or a guy in the Navy, or you're lost in the Navy, aren't you still a seaman?
That's it.
Just saying. Why do we need the other? You're still a seaman. You're still a citizen. Okay. Oh, the other part. If you can get somebody pregnant, you're a guy. If you can get pregnant, you're a gal. Just saying. It's kind of a giveaway test. Yep. Okay, moving on. I've said enough. President Trump says he's ready for 4 more years. Yeah. Okay. I'm with it. I can be down with that if he wants to. Oh, no. Oh, no. So, I don't know how to explain this, but somebody burned a pride flag. Here it is, guys. If you can burn the American flag and you're in the United States, then that speech, they can burn any flag then. Just saying. Okay?
Yep. That's so true, though.
Well, it is true.
And, it's not that there's anybody against pride. It's they're in your face about pride. Most people are saying they're okay, just have your own little group over here. It's because they're getting in everybody's face and pushing an issue that people really don't want to talk about.
Well, if you wanted them to talk about it, would you want them to talk about it like William? Okay, moving on. So we've got a little problem with the IRS tried to get entry into some people's home.
Ooh, and the gun store.
And this guy named Bill House, I guess, was an agent. And he told the people that he tried to trick to get into their house so that he could inventory, that he could go in anytime he wanted, because that was the rule. Sure. Somebody needs to tell Billy he got the wrong memo. Okay, we can move on from that. Peter Holtz, can we talk about NIH? Kelly?
Yeah.
So Peter Holtz is replacing that other guy over at NIH or FDA, whichever one it is. His name's Peter Holtz, okay? And RFK Jr. wants to debate him, and he's not too keen, I guess.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't get it.
Nobody. Well, I'm starting to think that the debate is because, for one, they don't want anybody to debate Biden, is what I'm thinking, because the GOP is willing to debate each other. This
is the guy that's over the agency over there in Atlanta that likes to mess around in petri dishes.
Yeah.
He's not a politician.
No.
He should be able to talk. It should be okay. It's not like he's running for office.
No.
He's already got the job.
It's just they don't want to debate. Right. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So there was this promise made at the White House. It was a while ago to declassify some documents about the origins of this certain thing that went around the world. And somebody forgot to do what they said. So they're not being declassified. No documents. Moving on. Uh-oh. So, the Air Force was playing a game. Can you believe this, Ellie? The Air Force playing games?
Oh, yeah.
And they had an F-16. And in this game, they put this AI in this F-16. And they sent it out to do some F-16 business. You know what F-16s do. They blow things up and kill people. That's what they do. That's their job.
Yeah.
And so the guy that sent the AI out decided, no, you're not going out to do the thing you usually do. I'm going to recall you. So he recalled the AI. So the AI took offense and blew him up. The guy that sent him. I'm thinking that didn't work out so well. Because you send somebody out because he's on your side and he comes back on the other side. Just saying, that might not be the greatest idea.
Yeah.
Turns out these things can think for themselves to a bit, and for a bit, and to a bit, or bits, or what do they call those things? Flops? Something flops? Anyway. Moving on. The Ukraine's upset. They're frustrated. They're frustrated with NATO. NATO has this arcane rule, and they're frustrated with the rule. And the rule says there's no admittance unless all the NATO members agree. And they want to be admitted.
Yep.
But not all the members agree. Okay. That could be a problem if that's what you're banking on. So Putin says NATO is, this is Putin, so take it with a grain of Putin salt, as opposed to Zelensky salt, because, we know that both of those are telling the truth. Putin says NATO is in fact in the process of dying. And he was waving the sheet of paper that said he had a peace agreement with Zelensky, and Zelensky had signed it. And he felt, I guess, like he was in a corner because all the people came up from Africa. Now they want a peace agreement too.
Yep.
Because it wasn't enough for Turkey to want a peace agreement, and it wasn't enough for China to want a peace agreement.
India did too.
Now South Africa wants a peace agreement.
Yeah.
So Putin's saying, here's my peace agreement, and NATO's in the process of dying. All right. Okay. We can move on now. Now, NATO's saying, why, in their quiet talk, they finally admitted what they want out of this war. Their idea to have this nonstop trickle war with Russia, and Ukraine's going to fight it for them. They're going to fight it for them the whole time, forever, right? Essential forever war, it says right here. And their job is to kill as many Russians as possible. Oh, and do it while screaming, we will take Crimea. Maybe that wasn't them, though. Maybe that wasn't the NATO part. That might have just been the Zelensky part, the we will take Crimea part. Anyway.
But William, they've been vowing to take Crimea since they fled.
I might get confused a little bit, but I don't think I'm getting them confused too much, though.
The whole thing with Ukraine and Crimea is when they have been crying that they're going to take Crimea since 2016 when they had that big rebel war that happened.
Yeah, and it's like, here's another thing I'm thinking about this whole Ukrainian, can we call it a debacle now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a worldwide debacle because the Africans have come to ask for peace, and the Turks have come to ask for peace, and even the Chinese have come to ask for peace. So it's a debacle, right? It's not just a war anymore. We can move right on into the debacle realm. So it seems to me we've been giving Putin's troops an awful lot of training on NATO doctrine lately, and especially how to kill NATO powerful weapons-ish. And is that really, truly in our best interest? Because I saw a picture the other day, and there was like 8 American Bradley fighting vehicles in various levels of carnage. And right in the middle of them was this fine, gleaming, brand new looking German Panzer II tank that was destroyed as well. I'm thinking they're getting the idea. And they said they were just using artillery. So they were using cheap shots to go after our expensive equipment. I'm thinking, just a little bit, Ellie, not a lot, but a little bit, that maybe the Ukrainians have forgotten how to fight Western style, and they've gone back to their Soviet style. Because they aren't doing so well. Or you can't win a war of attrition. But if you're I guess Boris or Jake or Victoria, that's okay.
Blinkin?
I'm moving along. I've got a lot here, Ellie. So, here's the thing. Ukraine has started its offensive. Its spring offensive. It's June. But they started it. They did start it. They started it. It's June now. But they started their spring offensive. And they've gained 4.3 square kilometers. Do you want me to interpolate that for you, Ellie?
If you
want. American, yeah, that's 1.5 square miles. Out of a place the size of Texas. Yeah. They're effective and moving forward-ish, I guess. So today, after 2 weeks of hard fighting and the loss of, thousands of lives, they've stopped the offensive. And they've decided maybe it's better. So remember how I told you guys that it takes at least, it takes 7 to 1 to go, if you're going to go into siege warfare, take a citadel, something like that, it takes about 7 to 1. Well, it looks like Russia has about 7 to 1. Russia 7, Ukraine 1. How do they figure they're going to win this offensive thing? Somebody needs to get a message to somebody, because
it could be why they're handing everything over to NATO now.
Well, they're not going to have the meeting until the end of July. That'll be another 100,000 dead people. Somebody needs to, run something up the flagpole and tell the command, hey, we might have an issue here. What if there's a problem? What if our guys aren't doing what they said they were going to be able to do? What if the other guys come over the line? What if we have to go to war over it? Just saying, it could be a problem. Now, we've got this Blinkin guy. What is he over at State? And Victoria Nuland is what, number 2 or number 3 at State? Well, Anthony Blinkin. I know he's here someplace. Anthony. No, that's Arnold. My fingers are slippery, Ellie. No, they are. I got paper and my fingers are slippery. I got dry skin.
Yeah, that's why you lick your finger and then hit the page.
So it's a problem because Anthony is going over to China, and I have this skin issue with dryness. And he just promised China that we support China and not necessarily Taiwan.
Yeah, that's what got me today, because when I read this, what was said was that they support Taiwan and will support through military might on if China decides to invade Taiwan. So they'll support them and they'll support them militarily And me and you both said that sounds like Ukraine.
So here's the thing, and I saw the picture, the picture, and they're sitting around the U table. That means you got U on one side and U on the other, and Xi on the end because he's the big guy. You know Xi? Xi Jinping, the Chinese guy, the big one, the big kahuna. You know what I'm talking about, the genocidal one?
And
anyway,
Jinping made him wait 45 minutes. And then he said, okay, I'll see him.
So what I don't understand is, why is our entire side sitting over there just like the other side with face diapers on, and Xi doesn't have one on his face?
I don't know.
Isn't that like a sign of disrespect?
When I listened to the ambassador, he just basically said sending Blinkin or Milley or Lloyd, I guess, the other general, sending them over really doesn't accomplish much. It
does. They're encouraging them, damn it.
Yeah. What did we say earlier? What if Blinkin?
Stay home.
What if Blinkin went over there and gave them info like Milley was? Karen remembers this when Milley was going to call over there and tell them what our game plan was, that we might attack. Maybe that's what Blinkin did.
Blinkin went up there to Alaska and almost, can I say the word BITCH?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, anyway, got that slapped up there in Alaska. What is he doing over there in Chinaville? He's no good at this.
No. And they just laugh at him, and it shows weakness of the United States because they make I always say they make mincemeat out of him every time he goes over there. So they keep sending him.
We've got the 7th Fleet over there going head to head with Chinese ships. We've got the Air Force out there going head to head with their interceptors. And he gets us maybe a meeting in November in Indonesia or Malaysia, and that's it. He's given up Taiwan for that.
Yep.
At what point do you say you're a wicked success?
Well, I think it's only due to we got that chip factory going in Michigan, even though it's by China. I think they really can turn their cheek to Taiwan. Now, I haven't heard no response out of Taiwan, but I bet they're mad.
Well, Billy Gates had to go over there and promise him, what, $100 million just to see Blinkin? Had to go over there, with cash and say, hey, I'm going to invest it in your wallet if you'll see Blinkin.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the other tech companies did something no, it wasn't. It was, who was it? It was NVIDIA is going to go do their graphics chip over there. Why are we moving chips into China? I thought we had that thing worked out. The other part is we're not going to decouple from China. Oh, no. Blinken assured them we're not going to monetarily decouple from China, even though China's buying all their fuel not in the petrodollar anymore. Yeah, that's happening. Okay, just saying. I'm not a great big Blinken fan, by the way, Ellie. I just don't know if you noticed. Blinken, yeah.
Blinken, Milley, Lloyd, Sullivan.
Well,
Sullivan is a joke too. He gets in there and speaks for him too.
So Sullivan sends the president out to give a speech on gun violence, and when the president gets done, He blurts out, "God save the Queen."
I think he forgot where he's living. I don't know.
I think the president was honest. I think that's what, they're saying in the back room.
Mm-hmm.
And he just doesn't have enough going on to suppress it. They got to quit saying their jokes in front of the president. You can't have a president going out there onto the world stage. We can't be doing that anymore. We're encouraging our enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And she isn't even alive anymore.
I don't know if he knows that, though.
Well,
no one's really asked him that question because, they have, he reads what's on the card or the cards, and he asks the questions only that he knows the answers for. It has turned into almost like a president that who is writing the script. So who's making the decisions?
So they have the multiple choice like we do on Friday, and he comes out with "God save the Queen"?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be false, not true. False, guys, false.
I always liked when he wanted to something about the pony and the push-ups. I liked it better when he threatened people like that. Yeah, something about some pony and yeah, let's go out and I'll show you how to do some push-ups.
Did you hear about that lady? What's her name? Well, there's this gal that came up to hug him. She's some fancy lady. Like, I don't know. She's like a super donor or a movie star or something like that. And he was like getting all frisky again. That was this weekend.
Yeah. And they cut a lot of that. The pride ceremony at the White House, they said about 90% of it had to be cut out because of what was going on. And that it was a embarrassment to the White House, what that party was.
Well, the people's house, yeah. That's our house. We're just letting him stay there, by the way. We don't have to let him stay there forever.
But they always seem to think it's their house. Take a look at like Hillary Clinton, that when she left, I mean, you talk about just documents. Hillary Clinton took Martha Washington's china and chairs at Thomas Jefferson chairs, and thought it was okay because it was her house.
I've got 100,000 good friends over at Arlington that say otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
That's just being the serious part of William. And they should take that serious because, for us, it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on again. Got to move on again. Combined arms. We've got 3 minutes left. I was going to explain combined arms. So how combined arms work is you exploit your enemy's inability to deal with you on a mass campaign. So instead of trading a bullet for a bullet, or a grenade for a grenade, or artillery shell for an artillery shell, or a tank for a tank, or an APC for an APC, that's armored personnel carrier. You take control of the skies. You've heard probably in the past that what matters in war is the high ground, and that's true. The high ground is what matters the most. So you use your combat air patrols. That's the people, that's our fighter interceptors that go out and shoot down the other guy's fighter interceptors and open up the way for our lesser airplanes. I shouldn't say lesser, specialized airplanes that can go in and knock out surface-to-air missile sites, okay, and anti-air artillery and things like that. Then you use attack aircraft to support your army that's going into a hostile area, and you degrade their artillery, you degrade their armor, you degrade their ability to communicate with each other, you degrade their lines of communication. I'm talking about resupply lines. You degrade their will to fight. You harass the enemy. You keep the enemy up for, weeks on end. You make it so that they're hungry. You make it so that they're cold. And you wait until the worst, most awful night of the world, and you assault them with your armor. And you protect that with your Air Force. Then you use your armor to clean out the trenches. You use the airplanes to clean out the armor. You keep your military alive, because if you don't have a military that's alive, how are you going to fight the next war? We're not doing that over there.
No.
We're training our enemy by taking things out of step, out of time, out of place, and for no reason. If you don't have a strategy when you go into a war, all the tactics in the world don't matter. That's just the noise before the defeat. That's just the noise that carries on before the defeat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of how combat arms work. I didn't go into the Marines, the Navy, how we go and come ashore when we have to do a beach assault, how we deal with layered arms delivery out at sea. So this is just a really small, almost insignificant portion, but our battle doctrine is holistic with everything we have, including things we haven't told the enemy that we have. Remember when we have the F-117 and they were kind of surprised about that? They thought, the Iraqis thought, well, yeah, he says that, but is it real? And we showed them beforehand. Don't show them beforehand. We shouldn't have shown them beforehand.
Yep.
We don't need to tell them. We don't need to transmit to them how we're going to do our war, right? So politicians routinely and lawyers routinely get battle doctrine all out of construct. They're good at shedding blood and wasting material, wasting your treasure. This is your children's future that we're mortgaging, right? To pay for these arms. And we're mortgaging them for a reason. Well, I'm just asking, what's the reason? Okay, Ellie, I think I'm done tonight.
Okay, well, close on out.
All right, so everybody be sure and, subscribe subscribe. Make sure you're going to be here. We always have something to say about something. And William can be kind of sarcastic. Not always, I can be dry too. I can be kind of dry. But I've tried not to be too dry. Anyway, they say, that humor is the last thing to die in a personality. So I'm not sure what that means. Anyhow, so please like and subscribe, and we hope to see you back next Monday. And please see Ellie tomorrow on Investigator News 2, and know that wherever you are in the world, we here at Investigator News care about your life, that you have a chance to live it. Okay, so have a good afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day, and know that somebody cares out here in the world where everything is going strangely. All right, bye-bye.